Welcome to the Pitch Light Chronicles. We are pissed. We will be breaking it all down. I don't even know where to start or where we're going to focus on, but this is going to be one of those shows where you're going to need some blood pressure medication.
You're IKF.
You are
You
watching
ain't listening
Pitch
to this,
Light
boy.
Chronicles.
You better not listen to this, IKF.
I am Chats. I'm here with Donald, and enough with the pleasantries. Donald, what the F was that game last night?
Well, I mean, first of all, Aaron Boone. Oh, IKF's one of the best shortstops in baseball. These things happen. Honestly, he's gaslighting us, man. We've just been gaslit. I don't like my baseball team lying to me, and that's what he just did right there after the game, saying that IKFs are the best shortstops in baseball. You're not watching the same game as I am, man, because he's got a -2 defensive run save. He's got 12 errors, which is amongst the worst, but he actually should have a lot more. I mean, the scorers have been very, very kind to him all year long. Probably Brian Cashman sending some cash the scorer's way, because he should have about 20, 21 errors by now with some of his awful play short. He's been absolutely terrible, and Aaron Boone has the balls, the absolute gall, to lie to us afterwards after he cost us the game, and he tells us that these things happen. It's okay. He's been great all year for us.
It's not okay. The Yankees are putting themselves in a situation where they're a joke. They're not a threat in the American League anymore. At this point right now, they are not a threat in the American League. I can name almost 26 other teams that could probably beat them right now.
Oh, yeah, easy.
In baseball. I mean, it's
the truth. That is the truth, man. The Reds beat us. The A's beat us, who aren't trying to win. The Angels beat us, and they're stinking. Everyone's beating us, man. It's not just the good teams. It's every team that's beating us right now.
Yeah, let's get to this comment from Mets fans since 1982. I think certain Yankee fans jumped the gun after the sweep of the Mets. I think some fans jumped on the wagon.
Well, here's where I disagree. Okay, now, yeah, I mean, obviously, it's a little bit of fun. It's always going to be a bit of fun, because I don't want to hear that, because the truth is, if the Mets did that to the Yankees, then we'd be hearing it from the other side too, right? Yankee fans had every right to be excited after beating the Mets, but here's what we were wrong about. We thought it was going to be the start of a winning streak. Not at all.
No, and I think it was in specifically to the Mets series. The Mets handled their business against the Yankees in their ballpark. We handled our business against the Mets in our ballpark. It was a split. It's 2-game sets. I don't really call it. Wouldn't call it a sweep, because it was pretty much a 4-game set within the city. So I don't like the 2 games using.
Well, here's what it is. Here's what it is. We had a little bit of momentum after the Mets series. Okay, after the Mets series, we were carrying a bit of momentum, right? And then Aaron Boone and the front office had to start messing with the lineup. And what happened? We started losing again. Because we were talking about this before. With inconsistent lineups, inconsistent teams, inconsistent guys playing different positions on a daily basis, right? You're not going to get any consistency. And that's what it's come down to, man. It's a freaking joke how they've managed this team post All-Star break. Absolutely atrocious. And honestly, I think a lot of this is done to Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman. They have absolutely imploded this team post All-Star break.
It's one of those, yeah. It was before the signs were coming that this was on the horizon even before the All-Star, before the All-Star break. We got lucky that we were able to handle the Red Sox going into the break as well as we did. And it's looking like fool's gold. I think that's really how to sum up the first part of the season right now. It was fool's gold. If look, there's 6 games over, and the 6-game lead in the division looks nice on paper.
It's not.
But when you're watching this team, there is no rhyme or reason to say that you are happy about where this team is right now.
It's not nice when you had a 15-game lead like a couple of weeks ago.
No, and that's the problem because there's a 6-game lead above Tampa. Well, we still have 6 games with Tampa.
Yep.
And
the Blue Jays. We got the Blue Jays. We got the Red Sox, who we can't beat. So, we got a lot of division games coming up.
I like this comment from Yankees need a reality check. Yes, they do. Bench everyone for one game. I'm talking bench everyone. Make it clear to every regular starter that they aren't playing like the Yankees. I agree. It's obviously you can't bench everybody, but I get the gist of what you're saying. And
I think the gist is accountability, and that's not something that we do here. We don't do accountability here, and that's why this Yankee team hasn't reached its level for a number of years now. Because, let's cast our mind back to Gleyber Torres when he dived at second base against the Met in the Met game. Remember, instead of throwing home, dived. Did he play the next day? Absolutely.
Yep.
Was there anything said to him afterwards? No, nothing was said to him. It's fine. IKF, right? He blows the goddamn ball game yesterday. And what does Aaron Boone say? Oh, it's okay. He's the best shortstop in baseball. That's where gaslighting starts stepping in here, man. It's gaslighting. It's lying to us. And there's no accountability here, man. There's none. Because Aaron Hicks still here. Marwin Gonzalez hasn't been DFA'd for some reason. There is no accountability in this ball club. Gleyber Torres has been batting 160 since the All-Star break, and he still plays 9 times out of 10. There is zero accountability in this ball club.
The way that they're running this team right now, and the players that they're putting in the lineup, how they're constructing the lineup, we've gone over that countless times. It's when you saw the lineup last night, we had talked about early near the end of the show yesterday about with Rizzo and his back issue, and they're going to have to make adjustments day to day on if he can play. But when after he hits home runs in back-to-back games, then you see he's not in the lineup. You're not even thinking about it being because of his back. You're going, right, typical Boone. He's getting on a hot streak, so let's sit him and cool him down. Because that's just how they operate. You see Hicks in the lineup, who did not have a bad game yesterday. He was not. I don't think he was the problem in the game for a change. Gleyber was offensively, he did his job. That's about it. And IKF,
he was always going to be out in the 9th inning. That's the thing. When we got in that 9th inning, when we got in this situation where we had Aaron Judge walked, okay, Stanton looked like he wasn't seeing what that guy was throwing. The guy threw a hanging slider, and Stanton swung under it and fouled it off. And that was our chance right there. That should have been a 2-run home run. I think in any other circumstance, if Stanton was hot, that would be a 2-run home run. But he missed it. He fouled it off. And so once that guy that was pitching, I forget his name, he then decided, right, you know what, pitch around him. And so we walked Stanton. And then once Stanton was on base and there was 2 on, nobody out, I was like, uh-oh. Because what's going to happen next? Josh Donaldson, Gleyber Torres. I was like, oh, well, this inning's done. Because these guys aren't going to come through. I would have bet you $10,000 that they were all going to blow it. And they all did. It was just 1, 2, 3, no problem. Because there's really Aaron Judge and then Rizzo. And those are our only power bats right now. Because Stanton's not a power bat at the moment because he's not fully healthy and he's just working himself back. Even if Stanton is back, it's 3 power bats in the entire lineup. that is really not a team that's going to win a World Series. If you've only got three guys that can slug
No,
to an above average level, then that's not a team that's going to win a championship. I'm just calling it straight.
no, and the other factor is you're not utilizing your bench properly. And welcome back, Hypebeast J. He's got why couldn't Donaldson bunt and pinch hit Cabrera for Torres? Why not let Trevino bat? That was very head scratching, and that was one of those. But I think that was almost like a sign of desperation from Boone.
Well, Donaldson can't bunt. I mean, you know that it's never going to happen. First of all, it's against the way the analytics view things. They don't like wasting outs, especially in the ninth inning. But also, Donaldson has always been a power bat throughout his career. They're not going to want to take the bat out of his hands. But do I want him batting that high in the lineup? No, because he's been awful all year long. And Brian Cashman screwed us with Josh Donaldson. So don't get me wrong. He screwed us with Josh Donaldson. It was a terrible, terrible trade. And terrible to acquire IKF too. But I mean, listen, I don't see Donaldson having any ability to bunt the ball. That's just never been his skill set. So you're never going to ask him to do that. Yeah. But yeah, I would have preferred anybody over him or Gleyber Torres. I probably would have pinch hit Gleyber Torres because I just don't trust him right now. Dude's in an awful slump.
Yeah, you're right, Nick. Rizzo's back issues are a real issue down the stretch because he will have to get extra days off to protect them. Yeah. Rizzo's tricky because you know his defense at first base is still at a very peak level. When his bat is right, he is one of the better hitters in the lineup. So then when you're looking at how the defense was played last night, because that's really what I want to try to focus on, because the defense was terrible, especially in the infield. And that inning where Ohtani got the home run off of Cole, you saw that coming a mile away before that first pitch to Ohtani was thrown.
Yep.
And where I think it started was Donaldson not putting the ball in his back pocket after he made that play. You kept it in the infield. You were not going to make a throw like that across the diamond. You're not that accurate. So I thought that was the first mistake because now you automatically are putting a runner at second base on the error.
True.
You should have had, which would have led to, let's just say the timeline stays the same. So you got the runner on first, then you get a ground ball to IKF for a double play.
Double play.
Then you get to face Ohtani with nobody on base. But no, we got to make sure that he gets the 3-run shot to put us in the hole.
That's right. I mean, but it all comes down to IKF at the end of the day.
Yeah.
If IKF does his job and he doesn't boot the ball and didn't allow the ball to play him, then worst comes to worst, there's 1 out with a runner at second base. Even if we count that error by Josh Donaldson, if that runner's at second base, still IKF has to do his job because then that leaves a base open to pitch around Ohtani if you need to. But here's why IKF booting the ball cost us the game. It really did cost us the game because then Garrett Cole didn't have the option to go, okay, I'm down 2-0 in the count. I'm just going to pitch around him, and if worst comes to worst, I walk him. But you can't do that now with runners on first and second because then if you walk Ohtani, then the bases are loaded, and there's no way out of it. So that's why he had to throw that fastball down the plate. It was badly located, but the truth was it's all on IKF because it changes every way that you face that hitter. You'd never ever want to throw fastballs down the plate to Ohtani, but what option did he have? Runners on first and second, down 2-0 in the count. He has to throw a strike, or 9 times out of 10 the bases are loaded. So Garrett Cole tried to get a get me over fastball, and it ends up in the seats. And all of it is on IKF. IKF is an absolute disgrace. He should not play this next game. I don't want to see him. I don't want to see his freaking face.
No, you definitely can't put him back. You can't play shortstop anymore. If they want to take the rest of the season seriously and make sure that you don't put yourself in a situation where they're already as close to putting themselves in a situation where the division is in jeopardy, but continuing to put him in that spot, in that position, you're going to put your season in jeopardy. It's almost a foregone conclusion. You got to. It's just it can't happen. It's so frustrating. Um,
One name for you, Oswald Peraza.
yeah, exactly. No, there's no lane for Peraza, but we can continue to watch that every night. I mean, come on. Are you trying to win a championship, or are you trying to just survive with a winning season so you guys look good? I mean, the
I
Yankees.
think that's what it comes down to, man.
I mean, come on. That's what it is. You don't want to start the service clock? Screw the service clock. Win the championship already. Put yourself in a position to do so. It's all right. Let's get this out. I'm really enjoying the comment section, Donald. I don't know. I hope you are as much as I am. So, Hype Beast J is brought up something that we've talked about extensively. But I do want to recognize it took on Donaldson's contract will allow the Twins to get Correia. Something is seriously wrong with that, in my opinion.
Thank you.
Bingo.
We said that at the time, man. We said that at that time. When that trade went through, I said, oh my God, because that's now allowed the Twins to go and get into the Correia sweepstakes. That would never have happened if Brian Cashman and his infinite wisdom didn't help the Twins going, oh, I'll help you. I'll take on an undesirable contract that you're trying to desperately get rid of. Oh, I'll take him on 36, 37, 50 million. Nah, no problem. I don't want to pay Correia, who's an all-star. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want an all-star in his prime that could help us win a championship. I'll take a broken down 37-year-old that can't hit anymore. No problem. You go and take your all-star.
Well, that makes perfect sense.
It was a terrible trade, honestly.
Yeah.
So, IKF was, and it was all for IKF, all for somebody that you don't even want to be any more than a stopgap, because that's all IKF was.
What you did was you didn't sign a shortstop, but you traded for a third baseman in Donaldson, whose age, is not to that whole ageism thing, but he's old. In baseball years, he's old. Does he still have some ability? Yeah, he's made some good plays on defense. I'm not going to say he hasn't, but he's been a terrible bat. And then you also traded for a Gold Glove third baseman to play shortstop.
Yep, made no sense at all.
It really, the whole thing never made sense, and it's starting to really bite them in the ass. We got
Aaron Judge has carried this team.
No. Nick disagrees with you. Walking the bases loaded, attack the next batter. Your ace should be able to work himself out of a jam. He's our number one pitcher, but I don't think Cole has been an ace. I really don't. I think that term should be held for more of the elite number one pitchers on his staff, not every number one pitcher. I
don't think any pitcher wants to willingly put the bases loaded, though. So I don't see what the point is there. I mean, obviously, if you load the bases, anything can then happen. One walk and a run scores. One single and then 2 runs score. So you don't really want to load the bases. So he was trying to get Ohtani out. But what I'm saying is once IKF made that error, then it completely changes the way that you face Ohtani. Their only star hitter right now. That changes the whole way in which you do it. Now, I'm not saying that Garrett Cole did everything right. He obviously screwed up and grooved a fastball down the plate. Terrible. But the real reality is IKF put them in this situation because Garrett Cole was absolutely strolling through that lineup. He was strolling through it. He would have probably had a complete game.
Yeah, he was looking pretty good. He was being very he was very efficient with his pitches in the innings. Even in the fifth inning, I think he had 52 pitches to start the fifth. Yeah. He was very economical with his pitches, is what I'm trying to say, is what I meant to say.
He was economical, yeah.
And no, Nick, you don't want to give up 3-run bombs either. That's what bit the Angels in the middle game of the series with Aaron Judge. The 3-run home runs will kill you every time. But when you have your number one pitcher on the mound, you trust that he's going to figure out a way, you know,
to get out of it. No, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, but Garrett Cole's had this problem all year long, man. He, as I've been mentioning in numerous podcasts now, he strolls through these games, and then once somebody makes an error or does something wrong, or there's a couple guys on base, and he melts down and gives up a 3-run bomb or gives up a couple of hits, and then there's a 4 spot on the board. This is something that has been plaguing Garrett Cole all year long.
Yeah, no, it's just it's just very puzzling because it's not even just last night. Cole's been, hit by this home run bug the whole season. Usually it happens in the first couple of innings. Now it's happening throughout the game. You know it's coming now. You just don't know when, and you just hope that your offense is putting up enough runs to counter his mistake. You agree? Nope. Well, it's not. So, I know, Nick. I know I was making your point, strolling, through the lineup. Don't let you should never let Ohtani beat you. No, just way they don't want Judge to beat them, or any other team. You don't want Alonso to you don't want Alonso to get the best of you, whatever team you're playing. So it's where we go. There we go. So, but Cole's the pitching has been a big question mark. I think the defense has been even more so. So I think this is one of those seasons where the pitching is doing enough to keep you in the game. The offense and the defense is starting to crumble more and more each game that we see.
Well, the offense since right through July are scoring 2 runs less than the average up to the All-Star break. So they were averaging almost 6 runs a game right to the All-Star break, and then now they're averaging about 3 runs a game.
Yeah, no, it's that's part of the problem is the offense is not holding up its end of the deal. They're not giving enough support to these. We always used to say, and I know you're going to cringe when I say his name, but one of the complaints that we always had about Montgomery is he was the one pitcher that never got run support. But now all the pitchers are not getting the run support. It's not just one guy in your lineup that you just kind of laugh off that he's got no luck with the bats.
Well, I've given you the reason. The reason is because we've only got one main guy in our lineup, and that's Aaron Judge.
That's why this team is in the position that they are. They do not put the right lineup together. They do not have a team strong enough or deep enough to be able to withstand one player's slump. When you have 8 other people in a slump, it serves you no purpose because Aaron Judge cannot bat 9 times, and he can't bat 1 through 9. So this team is looking.
But what I'm saying is, right and I said what he's saying the old podcast long is there's not enough power in this lineup, man. Once Carpenter out and Torres going back to what he was like last year, there's no power in this lineup. It's
about the power. They were able to put 13 runs or 14 runs against Oakland, whatever it was, without a single home run. They need the contact.
Yeah, but that's an anomaly, man. Because all year long they've been getting shut out since the All-Star break.
They have, but it's not always. It's not just about the power. They're not. They don't have the bats that are complementing each other. I think that's the key problem. There's no continuity in the lineup. Nobody knows what the hell day in, day out. They don't know what. I think Judge is the only one that knows what spot in the lineup he's playing. They play games with Benintendi batting them all over the place. I'm surprised he hasn't batted ninth yet. Like I even made the joke yesterday. I'm waiting for Boone to bat IKF leadoff at this point.
But when there's not a power threat, what I'm saying is when there's not a power threat. So, like, for instance, when they pitched around Aaron Judge to face Benintendi, they did that knowing that Benintendi was never going to leave the yard. So, what I'm saying is there's not enough power threats in the lineup. It's just Rizzo and Stanton after Judge, and that's really it. And that makes things a whole hell of a lot easier for the pitching staff to negotiate around.
Gotcha. No, all right, I got you now. Yeah, when you need those when you have the contact hitters, you need the power bats, and that's plural because you can't survive on just one for those 3-run home, the 3-run shots that can put games away. I see your point now. But it's what I think it's just all been so frustrating and very disappointing because we were riding on such a high cloud for the first half of the season where we actually were. It was like we felt like we were invincible. That nobody was, this was just going to be a cakewalk to October. That everything was finally clicking. The baby bombers are finally going to be able to, to finish off what they started. No, they're not. They're not looking like it right now. They're looking like a team.
Baby bombers anymore.
Desperate to find their identity.
Well, the baby bombers that ended a couple of years ago, but this new team, I mean, listen, it's you can see it's writings on the wall, man. To be honest, the Mets have a much more exciting thing going on over there. Let's be honest, they've got two of the best pitchers in baseball, plus they've got the best closer in baseball right now, and they've got the whole Timmy Trumpet thing going on in the ninth inning. There's a fun atmosphere. But the Yankees, they don't have a closer. At the moment, they don't have any reliable starting pitching because Cortez is hurt. And they don't have an offense apart from Aaron Judge. So really, there's not much to be excited about. If I was a Yankee fan, I'd be very, very concerned once you reach October because I'm seeing so many issues. They don't have a shortstop. They got a bad third baseman that can hit. They don't have a second baseman that can hit. The first baseman's hurt. Their DH is hurt. it's Aaron Judge. That's it. It's freaking unbelievable. And he isn't even signed for next year either. So he could leave. He could go to the Giants. He could go to freaking LA. He could go to Angels. He could go to the Mets. Who could blame him? Because this team's a mess, terribly constituted, badly put together, and at the moment being mismanaged. Now I'm not saying it's all on Aaron Boone because I think he's exactly what the front office wants.
It does get to the point where the players have to play to their ability.
Well, everyone blames the players, but you also have to put them in the best position to succeed.
Well,
and I don't think the Yankees are putting them in the best position.
It's a collaborative effort. I'm sorry. I don't mean to keep cutting you off, but there's no hope. I think that's the other depressing part of it. There's no end in sight to this, disaster of a second half of, you hope that, August, which was probably one of their more historical, months that this has never happened. I think the only year that there's 2 years that I remember that I heard about that the Yankees had a August like they just had. It was in 1996. And in 2003, they had terrible months of August.
Actually, no. Michael Kay said in yesterday's telecast that I think they were 10-19 or something like that.
Yeah.
For August. That it's never been done since 1991. That's the worst August the Yankees have had since 1991, and that was a really bad team back in 1991.
Okay, like I said, I only heard it briefly. I couldn't. There was no way to. It stuck in my head with those 2 years because those were years that we won and were in the World Series. So those were different years, to be honest with you.
Well, of course, it's different years. This is the year 2022.
No, it's different era, not a year. I meant to say era. The rosters are different. You can't compare. I think there should be no more comparisons from this team to that team because you're not doing the dynasty years any justice that way. But that is going to wrap up the frustration for us today.
Yeah, Tats is starting to melt down worse than IKF on the shortstop.
Yeah. But we will be breaking down how the division is going to play out with Rob tomorrow when he's back. Break down, preview the Rays series and what expectations there could be, or what more frustrations we will have. You've been watching the Pitch Strike Chronicles, brought to you by Northeast Streaming Sports and Sportswire Radio, where you pinsize your pride and play hard.